Imagine you're at the tallest roller coaster at an amusement park. You're ticking upward, don't know what to expect. You get to the top, and the view is amazing. You have all of this adrenaline. You just feel the best that you could possibly feel. Then suddenly you drop down 100 miles per hour. You get to the bottom. It feels like you're there for eternity. Then you start ticking up and you start feeling great because you know once you get to the top, it's going to be amazing. Except this time you don't get to the top. This time you run into a loop. So you have mixed feelings of the low and the top. Now picture that cycle over and over and over again. That's what it's like living with bipolar 2 disorder. There's many myths and stereotypes of bipolar disorder being this rapid up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the day. Bipolar disorder is way more complex and very debilitating. There are two types of bipolar disorder. There's type 1 and there's type 2. Type 1 consists of full mania, full manic episodes. Sometimes depression is also present, but it doesn't have to occur to get the diagnosis of bipolar type 1. And in bipolar type 1, depending on the intensity, you can experience psychosis, which is disconnection from reality. Now with bipolar type 2, you experience hypomania and depression. Hypomania is a milder version of mania, but does not take away the severity and the complexity of that symptom. For hypomania, what that looks like for me is rapid talking. I don't have the need for sleep or eating. I see them as more of a choice than a necessity. I'm wired but tired. My body is exhausted, but my mind and energy is at 100,000. It's hard not to act out on impulses. For me personally, my go-to are usually piercings or tattoos or spending money that I don't need to be spending at the time. It's not priority. For me, as far as depression, it is like a weight is on my chest. My body is exhausted. It's hard for me to get out of bed, to stay awake during the day. I just feel low and have no energy or motivation to do anything. Now, with bipolar depression within bipolar 2 disorder, it is not the same as major depressive disorder or regular depression. Major depressive disorder is categorized as persistent lows. There's no mood fluctuations within that mental illness, so that's where they differentiate. Because bipolar depression is in context to bipolar disorder. It's episodic, it's unpredictable, and this makes it more disruptive and intense. I actually am currently in a hypomanic episode while recording this. It is taking everything in me to make sure that I'm pacing myself and that I'm not rambling all over the place. Example of what I've experienced during this episode, a few nights ago, I didn't go to sleep until 3:45 in the morning because I wasn't tired. After that, I woke up around 6 something, had all of this energy. I went to work at my part-time job at 7:55 in the morning. After that, I had coffee, I went to the gym, and I was just fired up for the day. My body was exhausted. I did not notice because this also feels like my body and brain are not on the same page. They're not connected together. So after staying up, I didn't go to sleep until 1:30, and that's when I had assistance from my hydroxyzine, which is a medicine I take as needed for anxiety. One of the things for my personal experience that can make this more intense is the fact that I have also been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, severe anxiety, and PTSD. The BPD diagnosis magnifies all the symptoms of the other mental illness diagnoses. It can be very overwhelming because this disorder is cyclical, meaning it's a constant cycle. So it's going to occur regardless. I've also learned that there's no pattern to this, which can be extremely frustrating as well. So if I'm in a depressive episode, there's no way of knowing if I'm going to be hypomanic next, if I'm going to be euthymic next, which is the goal of treatment towards bipolar, making sure that buffer period or euthymia lasts as long as possible. I don't know if it's going to be a mixed episode. There's no telling what the pattern is. For a lot of the case, after hypomania, there's a hard crash of depression, but that's not guaranteed. So the unpredictability of this disorder drives me insane. And stress plays a large role in the symptoms and the duration of each episode. An example of a depressive episode for me looks like struggling staying awake during the day. All self-care goes out the window. Being active, sometimes it's hard to get up to take care of myself, little things, shower, brush your teeth, cooking, eating healthy, all of that goes out the window when the depression is really, really intense, because that's not at top of my mind. At top of my mind is just surviving. So no matter what the stigma may tell you, bipolar disorder is an extremely challenging mental illness that shouldn't be minimized by phrases like the weather's bipolar or girl, you're so bipolar, because having bipolar disorder is not a trend. It shouldn't be romanticized and it shouldn't be taken lightly. So for those of you who also struggle with navigating bipolar disorder, remember you're not alone. And I know it can feel like that in the moment. It's easier said than done. Know that there are other people out there who truly understand what you're going through, who deal with the same thing you do. And there's also loved ones and support who are open to learning more and figuring out how to best show up for you, because they love you regardless. Remember, you are not your mental illnesses. They do not define you. They are things you have. I am not bipolar. I have bipolar 2 disorder. I'm Sydney B. Thank you for tuning in with me. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.